justice system doing enough to protect its citizens in South Africa? Are prisons really deterring heinous crimes? Or have we as a society become too soft to administer the one punishment that might actually make a difference? Today, we're going to dive headfirst into a brutally honest conversation about why South Africa should bring back the death penalty. Let's start with the lowest of the low, child predators. Recently, there was a big rise in child predators, including a case where a middle-aged man, your regular average Joe in the neighborhood in South Africa, was caught distributing CP. If you don't know what that is, look it up. That is pure evil. If someone at such an age can engage in something so vile like distributing CP, what kind of future do we have as a society? Rehabilitation. Predators don't rehabilitate, they escalate, they get worse. What message are we sending when these monsters get a slap on the wrist or a few years in prison? Or no prison sentence at all? It's basically us saying, hey, it's bad, but it's not that bad. Bringing back the death penalty sends a clear message. There are some lines you don't cross, and harming children is one of them. Before we continue, there's something very important I need to tell you that's a little off topic. So picture this, bear with me for a second. I'm a college student by day, a sports instructor by the afternoon, and a YouTuber in every other spare second. I am spread so thin, the only thing missing now is a girlfriend to swoop in and chow all my money. Honestly, I'm starting to think God gave me all these roles just to see if I'd crumble like a cookie or stand strong like Summer Sambit. Spoiler alert, I haven't yet, but the cracks are definitely showing. So here's the real kicker. I'm not editing my videos anymore, and I'm sure you've noticed, not as much as before. Why? Because editing is the enemy of the raw, unfiltered honesty I like to give you. You're not here for some polished, fancy video with dramatic zoom-ins. You're here for me, unfiltered, uncut, and absolutely genuine content. And here's why it's a win-win for you and me if I don't edit my videos. For me, it's because I'll get to skip the tedious hours of editing, leaving more time to juggle all my chaos and maybe sleep for once. Plus, I'll improve my public speaking skills by forcing myself to get it right in one take. You get it? For now, for you, you'll get more of me. Raw, real, and relatable. 2 videos a day. 2 videos a day. No filters, no fluff, just pure content. And you'll enjoy it all, I'm telling you, including my awkward pauses and random tangents. So bear with me. So until a girlfriend comes around and eventually comes in to claim the rest of my time and my wallet, for now, it's just us. So buckle up, because this roller coaster is about to get wild, Summer Sambit style. South Africa's murder rate is one of the highest in the world. Every day, innocent people are raped, robbed, slaughtered in their own homes. You name it, we did it. The police are overwhelmed, the courts are underfunded, and the prisons are overcrowded. Meanwhile, criminals are laughing in the face of justice, knowing they'll likely walk free in a few years. Bringing back the death penalty isn't about revenge. Okay, it's about survival. It's about protecting innocent people from those who have made it clear from day one that they have no regard for human life. You can't negotiate with a serial killer, and you cannot rehabilitate a cold-blooded murderer. Some crimes deserve the ultimate punishment because the people committing them are beyond redemption, and you know it just as much as I do. Let's not pretend here that the current justice system is working before you behead me. Corruption is rampant, police are bribed, and murderers are released early due to good behavior. In this broken system, the victims are forgotten while the criminals are given endless second chances and grants later. The death penalty ensures that at the very least, the worst offenders are permanently removed from society. Permanently. No parole, no good behavior, and no chance to reoffend. It's final. Let's talk about deterrence. Speaking of final, people argue that the death penalty doesn't stop crime. Let's be honest here. The absence of the death penalty isn't helping either, is it? When there is no real consequence, criminals feel emboldened. They know that the worst case scenario is a few years in jail or maybe life if they're lucky, where they'll get free meals, free housing, free DSTV, and an access to contraband. If South Africa reinforces the death penalty, it puts fear back into the equation, something we needed. You murder someone, you lose your life. You harm a child, you lose your life. Fear may not stop every crime, but it sure as hell makes criminals think twice. Tell me if I'm telling lies. Too often the justice system prioritizes the rights of the criminal over the rights of the victim, and you know it. A murderer gets life in prison, and then the victim's family gets a lifetime of grief. A rapist gets out on parole, but the survivor is left with scars that never heal. Bruv, bringing back the death penalty isn't just about punishing the guilty. It's about giving closure to the victims and their families. It's about saying your life mattered, and we will not let this person walk away from what they've done. Some people argue that child offenders should be given leniency because they're just kids. Are you kidding me? We can't confuse youth with innocence. If you're a juvenile and distributing CP or committing violent crimes, you're not a naive child. You are a danger to society. I don't care how old you are. If you need the death penalty, you will get it. Age should not be an excuse for evil. Please understand. If you're old enough to commit an adult crime, you're old enough to face an adult punishment. South African prisons are bursting at the seams. Non-violent offenders are crammed in with hardened criminals, creating breeding grounds for gang recruitment and further violence. Tell me if I'm telling lies. And let's not even get started on the cost. Billions of rand are spent every year housing and feeding people who've committed the most horrific crimes imaginable. The death penalty is not only a deterrent, it's practical. Why waste resources on people who've proven they have no place in society? Tell me. A society that refuses to punish its worst offenders is the same society that doesn't value justice. By abolishing the death penalty, South Africa has sent a message. We are okay with letting murderers, rapists, and child predators live among us. We're okay with it. Why bother? We're okay with it. Bringing back the death penalty isn't about being cruel, okay? It's about reaffirming our values. It's about saying there are certain acts so heinous that they demand the ultimate consequence. The biggest argument against the death penalty is the risk of executing an innocent person. But let's be real. With modern forensic technology, the chances of that happening are now lower than ever. DNA evidence, surveillance footage, and other advancements have made it easier to prove guilt beyond a shadow of a doubt. And let's not forget, most people on death row aren't there because of circumstantial evidence. They are there because they were caught red-handed or confessed. At the end of the day, bringing back the death penalty is about taking responsibility as a society. Tell me if I'm telling lies. It's about saying we will not tolerate evil. It's about protecting the innocent and ensuring that those who harm them pay the ultimate price. And let's not forget how the justice system today drags out of these processes for years, always postponing court hearings, allowing criminals to file appeals, file for bail, waste court time, and force the family victims to relive their worst nightmares. Think about the families, the victims. They are stuck in a constant loop of pain, waiting for an outcome that often feels hollow. Why are we spending endless resources debating the fate of a murderer when the evidence is clear and the crime is undeniable? These monsters showed no mercy when they took lives of violated others. So why should we treat them like misunderstood souls? A swift death penalty delivers closure to victims' families. It shows that the state respects the suffering of the families and isn't afraid to deal with criminals the way they deserve. So prolonging their punishment does nothing but weaken the faith of ordinary innocent people in the justice system. Justice delayed is justice denied. But justice denied is also justice mocked. Listen to that part again. Do you know how much money is wasted keeping rapists, serial killers, and child predators alive? The food they eat, the electricity that keeps their cells running more than your house, the guards who have to supervise them, all paid for you, the taxpayers. Every cent you spend is spent on keeping a murderer alive so that instead of every cent spent on keeping a murderer alive could be used to build schools, fix the roads, or increase police presence. Why should we struggle to make ends meet while the worst of the worst live comfortably behind bars? Criminals don't deserve humane treatment. They forfeited that right when they committed their heinous acts. Imagine how many lives could be saved if we redirected that money to crime prevention instead of wasting it on housing monsters. The death penalty isn't just justice, it's economics. Why should we continue funding evil when we could end it with a single decision? Right now, criminals are laughing at the justice system. They know they can plea bargain, bribe their way out of trouble, or spend a few years in prison watching DSTV before being released. So where's the fear? Tell me. Where's the fear? Where's the consequence that makes them want to think twice? When the punishment is weak, crime will flourish like a flower. But But if the death penalty were reinstated, criminals would think 100 times before committing a heinous act. Fear of death is universal and always will be. It's hardwired into our DNA. The possibility of execution is a mental barrier no criminal wants to cross. And let's be honest, most of these so-called tough guys who kill, rape, and traffic people are cowards. They prey on the weak, and then they thrive in a system that enables them. Show them the electric chair or the gallows, and watch how fast crime rates will start dropping. Just take my advice. Every single day, children in South Africa are abused, exploited, and even murdered. Yet we have laws that treat predators with kid gloves. Why are we debating their rehabilitation or their right to life when they've already stolen the innocence and futures of the most vulnerable among our society? How many more children do you want to suffer before we decide that enough is enough? The death penalty sends a clear, unshakable message, and that message is if you harm your children, you will eliminate. And that message is if you harm our children, we will eliminate you from society permanently. It's not about revenge. Please understand, it's about protecting the future. If a country can't fiercely defend its children, then it doesn't deserve to call itself a society. The predators don't deserve a single chance because their victims don't get one. It's time to draw the line. South Africa's justice system is in shambles. Overcrowded prisons, underfunded resources, and rampant corruption. Criminals know how to work the system to their advantage. They bribe officials, they intimidate witnesses, and escape harsh sentences. It's the harsh reality. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens like you and me live in fear. The introduction of the death penalty isn't just about punishing criminals. It's about forcing the entire justice system to shape up. It's about shaking and making the system accountable to the people it's supposed to protect. Extreme times call for extreme measures. The death penalty sends a message, a big message, that South Africa is no longer a playground for criminals. We are taking back control from the Tutsis. Weak government and soft laws only encourage more chaos. A strong stance, backed by the ultimate punishment, is the only way to fix what's broken and restore order. Please understand, the world loves to romanticize the idea of forgiveness. We hear arguments like, everyone deserves a second chance, or we must rehabilitate, not punish. But this is a luxury that victims' families can't afford. Try telling the mother of a murdered child or the survivor of a brutal assault that their attacker deserves a second chance. Some crimes are so vile, so beyond comprehension, that forgiveness isn't just impossible, it's insulting. Not everyone is Saint Maria Goretti, okay? Let's stop pretending that we can rehabilitate monsters. Some people don't deserve redemption. Some people don't deserve to live in prison, to eat, to breathe, and to enjoy basic human rights. A death penalty isn't just about revenge. It's about justice, it's about fairness, and protecting society from ever being harmed by them again. Simple. Not everyone deserves mercy. Just say, South Africa is at a crossroads. We can continue down the path of leniency, where criminals are coddled and victims are forgotten, or we can take a stand. We can actually say enough is enough and bring back the one punishment that truly holds people accountable. The death penalty isn't about cruelty or vengeance. It's about justice. It's about protecting the innocent, deterring the wicked, and sending a message that some acts are so heinous they forfeit your right to live. South Africa deserves better. That's all I'm saying. Its people deserve better. And its worst criminals, they deserve the ultimate punishment. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Goodbye.